Before we start, let me tell you the ending. No one gets arrested, no one gets fired on the spot, no rule is broken. But one decision quietly costs $317 million. Not overnight, not on the scoreboard, but slowly, the way real money disappears. This isn't about a bad call, it's about a correct one. A decision so reasonable, so defensible, that no one stopped it. And that's why it worked. If you think disasters come from panic, you haven't seen how professionals fail. Because the most expensive mistakes don't feel risky at all. They feel responsible, they feel safe, they feel like something you might do. Now here's where it starts. In 2016, no one broke the rules. No one panicked. No one believed they had made a bad decision. And yet that season, hundreds of millions of dollars quietly chose to go somewhere else. This isn't the story of a football game. It's the story of what happens when correct decisions are made inside the wrong system. And if you've ever said, even once, playing it safe feels smarter, this story is about you. By the mid-2000s, American football was no longer just a sport. The NFL had become a financial machine. Broadcast rights, stadium bonds, guaranteed contracts, franchise valuations. Winning still mattered, but predictability mattered more. Across the league, teams were optimizing for stability, lower volatility, cleaner cash flow projections, fewer surprises. No one wanted to be a hero. Everyone wanted to look responsible. That mindset felt modern, professional, safe, and that's exactly why it was expensive. The coach at the center of this story didn't grow up with spreadsheets. He learned football riding in the back of his father's pickup truck, heading to high school fields on Sunday mornings. His father wasn't famous, he wasn't rich, but he believed one thing deeply. Football belongs to people. The NFL taught his son something different. Control is safer than instinct. Models are safer than moments. Silence is safer than noise. And slowly, the game changed. The real villain in this story isn't a coach, or an owner, or even analytics. The villain is spreadsheet thinking, the belief that everything important can be measured, optimized, and controlled. These decisions weren't made on the field, they were made in Excel. And Excel never goes to the game. The first decision looked harmless. Veteran players were signed to fully guaranteed contracts. The model said injury risk would drop, performance would stabilize, outcomes would become predictable. From a finance perspective, this was capital allocation. Flexibility was traded for certainty. The opportunity cost didn't show up on the balance sheet. It showed up in speed, in explosiveness, in the inability to change direction when the moment demanded it. The team didn't lose games, it just stopped winning them. The second decision is the one fans still complain about. The stadium was redesigned, more corporate seats, more luxury boxes, more predictable revenue. From management's point of view, this was revenue optimization. From a finance perspective, it was a revenue concentration problem. Quiet money replaced loud money. The building filled up, but it stopped shaking. Home field advantage didn't disappear because fans left. It disappeared because the noise did. Spreadsheet models never flagged the issue. They couldn't. Excel can't measure momentum because Excel has never screamed on third down. If this feels familiar, it should. You've seen this decision before when someone chooses the safer investment instead of the better one. When upside is sacrificed to avoid short-term discomfort. When risk is avoided so thoroughly that opportunity quietly exits the room. This story isn't just about football, it's about modern decision-making. Then came the moment that locked everything in. Prime time game, season on the line, tie score. Just over a minute left, the ball deep in scoring range. The model was clear. A field goal produced a 94% win probability. That number sounded responsible, defensible, clean. But it wasn't a risk-adjusted return, it was short-term downside protection. In the NFL, the remaining 6% is called reality. The decision was made, the kick was good, and everything after that happened fast. A short kickoff, one missed tackle, a silent sideline, touchdown, no outrage, no chaos, just shock. Here's the part that never shows up on the scoreboard. That loss collapsed the playoff probability from 68% to single digits. That meant no primetime games. That meant lost broadcast revenue. $18 million disappeared. Then came the advertising recalculations. Flexible scheduling vanished. National exposure dried up. 22 million more disappeared. Sponsor contracts followed their clauses. Post-season incentive bonuses quietly expired. $15 million gone, no press release required. The following season, ticket renewals dropped. Corporate boxes stayed full. Regular seats didn't. That was a $12 million annual loss. And it was permanent. Then came the number that never feels real. Franchise valuation. Analysts revised future cash flow expectations. Discount rates changed, not because the team was bad, but because it was no longer relevant. $250 million vanished on paper. No theft, no scandal, no single catastrophic mistake. Just capital choosing not to be there. In total, the cost was roughly $317 million. This is where a careful finance professional asks the dangerous question: where does this model measure human behavior? The answer is simple: it doesn't. And that's the flaw. Not bad math, incomplete math. Because models don't panic. Models don't hesitate. Models don't feel pressure when a stadium goes quiet. People do. The lesson here isn't take more risks. That's the lazy takeaway. The real lesson is harder. Risk avoidance has a cost, and that cost rarely appears where you're looking. Sometimes the safest decision produces the worst return on capital. Sometimes downside protection creates asymmetric downside. And sometimes being almost right is the most expensive outcome possible. Because money doesn't follow correctness. Money follows energy. Momentum, attention, capital moves toward noise, not spreadsheets, toward belief, not probabilities, toward moments, not models. When the noise stops, the money doesn't wait. It leaves, quietly, rationally, forever. And this is the part most postmortems get wrong. The collapse doesn't happen at the moment of failure. It happens earlier, when everyone agrees the decision makes sense, when no one argues, when no one objects, when the room gets quiet and the spreadsheet wins by default. That silence feels like control. But it isn't. It's disengagement. Almost right doesn't just lose games, it loses futures. Because being almost right delays urgency. It postpones change. It convinces smart people that nothing is wrong yet. And yet is where most failures live. Next time, this won't be football. It'll be a different city, a different boardroom, a different industry. The spreadsheet will still be open. The assumptions will still look reasonable. The probabilities will still be comforting. The numbers will still be right, and the outcome will still be wrong. Not because anyone was reckless, not because anyone was stupid, but because no one asked the question early enough. So here's the only one that actually matters. What's more dangerous, taking the wrong risk or avoiding the right one?